The AfCFTA is an initiative developed project on the Abuja Treaty, which was signed Nigeria and other African countries on the 3rd of June 1991. And the objective is to establish a free trade area, among other things. The objective is to establish a free trade area, among other things, and also to have a common national tariff to gradually remove obstacles to free movement of persons, goods and services, and capital. And of course, also having the right of residence and establishment on the African continent. This agreement is a step in the integration of African economy. If you are familiar with the theory of economic integration, you know the first level is free trade agreement. Currently, we have what is called preferential trade agreement with the US, with EU, and a number of African developed countries. But here we have a free trade agreement that we are part of. And then the free trade agreement basically allows me to ship to other African countries duty-free. And the idea behind that is, if I'm shipping to other African countries duty-free, most likely, I am going to be able to trade more. And because I'm trading more, I'm going to grow my business, create more jobs, add more value to the economy. And that's the idea around free trade agreement. It's for national development, continental development in this case. So we might move on to the level of custom union when we have a common national tariff, of common market where we have free mobility of factor of production. And we can get to what EU have done, economic union, where you have a single currency and single monetary policy. This agreement has 6 sides to it. There is protocol on trade in goods, trade in services, dispute resolution, investment, intellectual property right, and competition policy. Protocol on trade in goods, services, and dispute resolution have been finalized, and that's the one that is currently operational. The remaining is being negotiated, and that will come on board later on. The protocol on trade in goods is aimed to facilitate intra-African trade through a progressive elimination of tariff and non-tariff barriers, enhance efficiency of custom procedure, and trade facilitation and transit. It seeks to facilitate trade in goods via enhanced cooperation in the area of technical barriers to trade and sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Tariff concession schedule. The concern of many about this agreement before has been that, look, if we sign this agreement, we might have a situation where our market is flooded. Our market is flooded. But in the real sense of the word, that thought is not just Nigeria that is thinking that way. Other African countries are thinking that way. And they've agreed that we are going to have not all part of our economy will be open. We're going to have a situation in which we're not going to have open 100%, we're going to open 90%, and 7% will be open over a period of 10 years, gradually, but 3% will never be open. Why? We need to keep protecting some sector of our economy that we feel is fragile, that might not be able to contain competition right now. So we have this exclusive list, sensitive list, and non-sensitive list. This list will be as determined by regional economic bloc or by each country on their own. And this is one of the safeguards of AfCFTA. Currently, 54 countries have signed. Out of 55, only Eritrea is yet to sign. 22 countries are required to ratify and deposit their ratification instrument and deposit their ratification instrument before the agreement can take off. But guess what? 36 countries have ratified and deposited their ratification instrument. So we are far beyond. We are far beyond what is expected in terms of just 22 countries. Now we have much more countries, much more countries. So from Ghana to Kenya, Ghana was the first on the list. Then Kenya, Rwanda, Niger, Chad, Eswatini, Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Namibia, South Africa, Congo, Djibouti, Mauritania, Gambia, Uganda, Senegal, Togo, Egypt, Ethiopia, Gambia, DRC, Congo DRC, Zimbabwe, Burkina Faso, Sao Tome and Principe, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Mauritius, Central African Republic, Angola, Lesotho, Tunisia, Cameroon. Nigeria ratified in December. And after Nigeria, Malawi and Zambia ratified 2021. So let's look at the performance. So do we have an advantage under AfCFTA? If we check what is happening in Africa right now, do we think AfCFTA, are we even exporting to African country at all? Do we have an advantage? The chart on the screen shows how Africa and Nigeria is currently trading. If I remove 2020, of course, that's an abnormal year. There was lockdown. And I work with 2019, you will see the volume of trade done in 2019. Now, you know, the last time I was at your office, one of the major conversations we had was that as a business, if you are going to be able to generate those deposits and get those income, one thing is needful. And that which is needful, in my opinion, is that we must be strong in trade. Even individual marketers should grow their trade skill. Why? The reason why this is necessary is because most of the income and deposit you are looking for, you find them in trade. So that means what we really need is a strategy that will help us to be able to significantly grow our trade volume. If we attract a lot of customers to ourselves as a bank, we stand the chance of growing our deposit and income. Why? The reason why I'm of the opinion this is extremely necessary is because if you check the volume of trade done by Nigeria, you will realize that about 27% of Nigerian trade, about 27% of Nigerian GDP is on trade alone. So if I want to have access to a good chunk of that transaction done in Nigeria, then I really need to do something serious about trade. Now we have an opportunity on the African continent. Opportunity to grow trade on the African continent. And like I said, we really cannot do much if the banks are not available to finance those transactions. or to give support services to help the customers. And when you think about trade in Africa, please note that trade in Africa is going to be driven by manufactured goods. Any country that will be able to do trade now, maybe in the long term, agri can come in, but in the short term, manufactured goods. And the reason is because a lot of African countries are either low income or lower middle income. So what does that mean, really? That basically means that the people have a very low disposable income. Very low disposable income. So they are basically living for survival. They are basically living for survival. Many African countries. Now, the implication of that is that anything that we want to sell must be value added. But in addition to that, it's not just going to be value added. It has to be manufactured goods in terms of what human beings need for survival, retail product, what human beings need for survival. To emphasize the need that what we sell in Africa is manufactured goods, to emphasize that need. Look at this chart. As of last year, even in COVID, majority of manufactured goods from Nigeria went to Africa. Of course, European, Americans, Oceania will not buy enough from us. The people that will appreciate what we produce more are our brothers and sisters on the African continent. So that means that, number one, we need to be strategic in our marketing, that we must begin to pay more attention to trade customers, and also to inform some of our customers that have potential for trade, but they are not even looking at it. I'm sure you have customers that are into manufacturing. Those customers into manufacturing have potential in Africa, but many of them are not even aware of the opportunity they have on the African soil. So that means your marketing now should be driven by the opportunity available on the African continent. There are customers producing almost anything. You know, okay, let me give you an example of some of the manufactured goods. From soap to soya products, to Indomie, to noodles. These are products that Nigeria currently exports under AfCFTA. To cigarettes, to Maggi Cube. You will notice something about those products. To Nescafe. To clinker. Clinker is used to produce cement. To bottles, empty bottles. Soap. You will notice something around those products. They are products that each and every one of us need for survival. Look at the product you will see. You see this product? These are the winner during COVID. The winner during COVID. Who are the winners? These are the winners. Medical supplies, food processing, personal and healthcare products, e-commerce, ICT, agri. That is what is selling. That is what we are selling. A lot of detergent are being exported. A lot of food items and condiments are being exported. Even close-up is being exported to African countries. Insecticide is being exported to African countries. Detergent is being exported to African countries. So majority of our products, even slippers, cosmetics, perfume, bedroom slippers, are being exported to African countries. I'm basically saying that among the manufactured goods, close attention needs to be paid to what we need for survival. What we need for survival. And by that, I mean what we need daily. Evaporated milk, tissue paper, even Tom-Tom, Ariel soap, cosmetic, Viju milk. These are all product molds. These are all products that Nigeria currently exports to many African countries. And like I said, for me, the reason for this is very, very obvious. People are living for survival in Africa. The opportunity available for us in Africa are what people buy day to day for survival. Look at this African consumer expenditure in the retail subsector between 2011 and 2016. And from this, you can see food and beverages. Food and beverages taking the lead. So there is export already to African country, to ECOWAS and non-ECOWAS country. Export is already going on to those places. So why do we need the AfCFTA? This is one of the reasons why we need the AfCFTA. Look at why we need the AfCFTA. Do you know that EU, with a population of about 500 million people, is contributing 33% of world trade? However, about 70% of that trade is intra-EU trade. The reason why that is possible is because of the free trade agreement among the EU countries. The reason that why it's possible is because of the free trade agreement among the EU countries. If we are going to be able to do the same in Africa, we cannot afford not to have a free trade agreement in Africa. Africa, with a population of 1.2 billion people, guess what? 1.2 billion people contributing just 2.6% of trade in the world. Look at the chart. Intra-African trade, 17%. Intra-EU trade, almost 70%. Asia, about 50%. South America, 22%. North America, about 50% also. The more we trade among ourselves, the more businesses grow. The more businesses grow, the more jobs they create. The more jobs they create, the more unemployment reduce. The more unemployment reduce, the more inequality reduce, and the better the country, and the better the continent. This agreement present a unique opportunity for Africa to grow. So what are the potentials, or rather, products that have potential on the African continent? What are the potential, or rather, products that have potential on the African continent? There is a huge potential for manufactured products on the African continent. This is because quite a number of the items being procured by other African countries from around the world are either already being manufactured in Nigeria or can be produced in Nigeria. In my search for these products, I've been able to identify about 90 products, most of which are manufactured goods. Some of them are processed agro products with huge potential on the African continent. The challenge the Nigerian company might have had in the past might have prevented us from entering the market is likely going to be to include pricing. And this most likely will be reduced by the implementation of AfCFTA. The fact that African countries currently import this product is a sign that they will most likely leave them on the 90% non-sensitive list when submitting their tariff schedule to AU Secretariat. So these products are strategically positioned low-hanging fruit that another manufacturer in Nigeria should consider in AfCFTA. Look at some of the products with untapped export potential according to AfCFTA. Untapped export potential according to AfCFTA. Fruits, beverages, vegetable, apparel, paper, metal, sugar, fertilizer, plastic, rubber, fish, chemicals, beauty and cosmetic products, motor vehicles, another food item. Let's look at the figures. Petrol, $30 billion of import. These are data showing what African imported into Africa from other parts of.
Hello, Dele, we cannot hear you again.
My network went up, I'm back. So sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. From cars to wheat to crude oil to medicament as drug, petrol gas, raw sugar, palm oil, rice, corn, insulated wire, sugarcane, non-filleted fish, pesticide, poultry, coal briquette, cement, plastic lid, scented mixture, soya beans oil, women's suit, iron pipe, nitrogenous fertilizer, frozen bovine. You notice that all these products are more than $1 billion, sorry. Remember, $1 billion is 500 billion naira. $1 billion is about 500 billion naira. And that means Africa is importing this product at this level. Africa is importing this product at this level. And all these products, Nigeria is capable of producing them. Nigeria already produced them. So we have an opportunity to be able to reach out to our customers, educating them on this product and letting them know how to take advantage of this product. AfCFTA have the potential to change the narrative in Nigeria, the narrative of the one-sided monocultural economy that we are running. Because the product with potential under AfCFTA is manufactured goods. If the growth of manufactured goods increase significantly, manufactured good is going to reduce our over-dependence on oil as a nation. You can see that 85% is oil and gas. That's why every time there is an issue with oil price, Nigeria go into recession. And that's why we have been in recession twice since 2016. Now, what we change in terms of the process? In terms of the process, what we change? In terms of the processes involved in export, what will change? If you are familiar with the export process, you know that when the product is ready for export, there will be a pre-export documentation. You process your NXPs, but this time around, if you want to trade under AfCFTA, you won't be able to process your NXP immediately. Your product must be deemed to be an originating product on the African continent. Your product must be deemed to be an originating product on the African continent. What does that mean, originating product? The manufacturer of the product must be an entity registered in a country that is a state party under AfCFTA. Registered in a country that is a state party under AfCFTA. A state party under AfCFTA is a country that have ratified this agreement. To ratify means it's recognized in the country as a law of that country. Custom will respect it, that for this product, duty will not be paid. Custom will respect it. For custom to respect, it has to be ratified. However, not all products and not all companies in Africa will be eligible to trade freely, duty-free on the continent. Why? Because if we do that and do not put a rule, guidelines in place, you are going to see a product coming from China, shipped to Ghana, and from there repackaged and sent to Nigeria. When that happens, it will be defeating the whole idea of AfCFTA in the first place. Because the idea around the AfCFTA is to create jobs. But if the product we are buying and being traded as African product is produced in China, we have lost the opportunity to create jobs. We have lost the opportunity to create jobs. Someone else or another company, organization is the one enjoying the benefit of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Because of that possibility, every product will have a certificate of origin. After that product has been thoroughly reviewed by a public and private sector committee set up to review every application. So that means the business will first of all register on the platform being currently developed. This process has not started in Nigeria because we just ratified. We hope it will start in the second quarter. The portal for registration is being developed. When I register on that portal with my CS certificate, export license, tax clearance, evidence that I'm a legal entity in Nigeria, then I will now register my product. After I've been registered as a business eligible to trade, I will now register my product. That product must satisfy the rule of origin. The rule of origin says any business that will trade in Africa must either be only selling wholly produced product or product with substantial value addition or product with substantial raw material sourced from the African continent. substantial raw material, about 60% of the raw material sourced on the African continent, or a level of processing is done on the product that change the nature of the product such that the product is no longer seen as, for example, orange concentrate now is orange juice. The classification has changed as a result of processing. The classification has changed as a result of processing. After satisfying the requirements of this processing, after satisfying that requirement, the product will be eligible to be traded under AfCFTA duty-free. So every time the manufacturer of that product wants to export under AfCFTA, he can apply online, and in 24 hours, he will be issued a certificate of origin that will form part of his pre-export documentation attached to process NXP locally, and post-export documentation, the original have to be sent alongside with the bill of lading and invoice to the buyer's country abroad. To the buyer's country abroad. To the buyer's country abroad. Not all manufactured products will be eligible for duty-free under AfCFTA. Those that will be eligible will need to be compliant with the requirement of rule of origin. To be able to comply with rule of origin, the product has to be wholly produced, substantially processed, or value addition on the African continent. This means manufacturers will need to look at their production processes again and do, where require, a reworking of their supply chain in order to benefit from AfCFTA. The reworking of the supply chain may require the need to begin to source raw materials from within Africa or fund the production of the raw material in Africa. This might involve forming necessary alliances, setting up an entity in countries where the raw material can be obtained in order to ensure efficient and cost-effective way of sourcing raw materials. To take advantage of this agreement, your customers need to examine the African market, investigate to know the market, to know the packaging and labeling requirements in each of the market, make the necessary adjustments in their product quality and packaging, ascertain the language requirement for product labeling and make necessary amendments, and also investigate if there is a need to register an entity in that market. What are the propensities? The implication of signing this agreement. In the short term, government revenue will decline. GDP might be affected because of government spending will drop. In the short term, there will be decline in balance of payment, balance of trade rather, in Africa, as import will grow faster than export. There is expected a decline in the short term in consumer prices due to increased import, which can lower inflation. There is expected to be significant increase in import, and this is expected to be significant across manufacturing subsector, where there will be a drastic, a gradual decline in the duty payable. However, look at the subsector of manufacturing that will be impacted positively and negatively. Manufacturing subsector, pulp, paper, printing, basic metal, textile apparel, we experience growth, increased job, increased investment, because majority of items in this area currently are imported. And the seller abroad, we need to come and set up in Africa, in Nigeria, to take advantage of the market. However, for products like wood and wood products, electrical products, motor vehicle assembly, food, beverages, tobacco, plastic and rubber, we experience a decline in investment because of the high level of imports within African countries, and of course, reduce unemployment. In the long term, agri will grow because it's expected we should become more industrialized and we are going to begin to consume our raw materials. Manufacture will increase also because of increasing investment in the productive sector. Interest rate is likely going to rise, then fall after a while because of foreign direct investment coming in. Exchange rate also will be pressure in the short term, but reduce in the long term because export is likely going to overtake import. Increase in production and services, capacities, and trade within Africa will also create job opportunity. And we also expect ease of movement of services, capital, and person and goods. But there are challenges. Now, remember, Nigeria, when I have this conversation, people, and I understand the concern, they are very, very being pragmatic, looking at the way we are, but I try as much as possible not to base my judgment on my view or perception or opinion, but on fact and data available. True, Nigeria have infrastructural deficit. Fact, in spite of the infrastructural deficit, Nigeria is exporting a lot to African countries. That's the fact. And that is even without AfCFTA. In Africa, Nigeria is number 16 in the competitiveness index. In West Africa, Nigeria is number 4 in West Africa. So we have a number of countries ahead of us. Oh, we are monocultural economy. That's true. But Nigeria is not the only one in that bracket. What I realize is that a number of African countries will need to adjust to even partake of AfCFTA. And the reason is because a number of them also are monocultural in nature. So look at South Africa, for example. South Africa is a bit better than others. You will see that major export of South Africa, you can see 23%, 14%, 9%, 8%, a bit diversified. But Nigeria, that's our challenge. 87%, then 5%, then 3%. Angola, 97%, then 1.4, then 0.1. Oil, 97. Algeria, oil is 93. Libya, oil is 97. Let's look at other top economy in Africa. Egypt is a bit diversified. 34% oil, then 6.2, 5.4, 4.3, 4.8. Reasonably diversified. Morocco is well diversified. 18, 13, 9, 8.3, 4.9. Ghana is also diversified. 3.3, 33.2, 32.9, 17, 44. Tunisia, 29%, then 15. So when you look at a number of economy that is, I'm talking about the top exporter in Africa, majority of this economy are not diversified. They also need to adjust. Of course, there are issues with corruption, there are issues with inflation, and there are issues with ease of doing business. So I'm not denying the fact that we have these issues. I'm only saying that in spite of these challenges, Nigeria is still not doing badly in the Committee of Nations. In Africa, as far as export is concerned, Nigeria is the second largest exporter in Africa, just next to South Africa. Preparation. As I round off, how then should we prepare? How then should we prepare? How does the bank get ready? I'll recommend 6 things: communication, capacity, collaboration, commitment, cooperation, coordination. Number 1, communication. Research has shown severally that one of the biggest challenges of free trade agreements like ETLS in West Africa, I did a research on this 2 years ago. The biggest challenge that results in low utilization, consequently leading to failure of such agreement, is the fact that there are no adequate communication. Adequate communication. People that should know do not know. They are not even aware there's an agreement that gives them opportunity to grow their market beyond their environment. You know what I discovered about Asians? When they come into Nigeria, they hire lawyers to look into our laws and extract all the incentive they stand to benefit as a corporate entity in Nigeria. You know what I mean? It then becomes very difficult for them to fail because they have minimized their costs extensively. They are trading and making a lot of profit in a very short time. You know what happened to these companies? In a very, very short time, the company become multi-billion naira company. Why? Information. We need to communicate the detail of the program, the product eligible and the profitability, promotion and purchasers, paperwork and payment, policy and procedure, plus the people. We will communicate all that to our customers. First among ourselves, which is what we are doing right now, then for our customers. Now, let me also say something at this point. You know, one of the things I think the bank needs to do, I'm talking about SUNTRUST now, is to position yourself in this industry to be known for one thing, among other things. I think you can position yourself to be known for trade. And one of the ways you can do that is to do regular seminars online for exporters. If you publicize it very well, you're going to get a lot of businesses who want to go into export that will come and learn from you. You know what that does for you? You have easy access to their detail, follow up on them to open an account with the bank and begin to do business with the bank. I'm saying that you can leverage on AfCFTA to grow this bank within a very short time. And we can use trade as the bicycle to get that done, or vehicle to get that done, rather. But you know, if we are going to be able to attract customers using trade, then we must build our capacity. Capacity around products, pricing, paperwork, purchasers, and payment. You know, one of the biggest challenges I found out among professionals is that many professionals don't see the need to develop themselves. Few that do it. Few do it because they are compelled to do it. Some do it because they are compelled to do it. Few do it because they know it is important. So I tell people that everything physical is subject to change. It can be destroyed by fire, foe, or flood. So spend your time building in yourself the intangible value of life: knowledge, skill, wisdom, understanding. As long as we don't develop our mind, we are going to limit our capacity to deliver. You know, whenever you're in the office and there's a challenge with a transaction, with a customer, and everybody is thinking, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Those that will always find answer are those that have information in their mind. When you think, you query your database. If your database is shallow, the quality of thought will be poor. You will not be able to find solutions to challenges. When your mind is full of information and you're always learning, maybe you're in credit, you're in marketing, you're in trade, you're in operation, wherever you are. What are you doing? We are now in April. 3 months gone. What have you learned this year? What is one thing that you have added to yourself in terms of value and learning this year? What's that one thing that you can say, in the last quarter, this is what I've been able to achieve? What is that one thing? What is that one thing? If you can't have anything to show, there is still 9 months to go. But that kind of attitude to our development, I think, is not nice. We are being unfair on ourselves. The most important thing in our life is the development of our mind. In as much as material things are important, they're good. But I think you should give more attention to the intangible, the knowledge, the skill, because with the intangible skill and knowledge, you can acquire those things. In fact, in my opinion, the lowest level of money is cash. The highest level of money is credibility, followed by relationship, companion, followed by character, followed by competence. In fact, you were hired by SUNTRUST because you were deemed competent. The lowest level of money is cash, because money is a medium of exchange. And I discovered, if I have competence, character, companion, and credibility, I will attract the cash, the deposit for the bank. So if I build relationship, if I build my skill, look at this trajectory. Look at this trajectory. My goal is to attract deposit and income to grow the bank. The question is, am I creating value? Because with value, I will attract that deposit. If I'm not creating value, it's because I'm not solving problems for customers. So I'm not generating income and deposit. I'm not meeting my target because I'm not creating value for my customers. I'm not creating value for my customer because I'm not able to solve their problems. I'm unable to solve their problem because I am not competent enough. I'm not competent enough because I've not been developing my skills. I've not been improving myself through skill acquisition. And I'm not skillful because I am not given to long life learning. And I'm not given to long life learning because I'm not doing training or certification. There is a new horizon on the African continent, new career within the banking sector, and that is called trade. Trade is going to be the growth driver in Africa. Remember, trade constitutes 25%, more than 25% of Nigerian GDP. Trade constitutes 25% of the world GDP. The global GDP is about 80 trillion. Trade is almost 20 trillion. Trade constitutes almost 25% of the global GDP. That's telling you how powerful trade is and how important trade is for the growth and advancement of any financial institution in Nigeria. And if you position yourself to be a trade professional, you give yourself opportunity to be able to grow your career and make yourself to become indispensable in your organization. Another thing is collaboration. Collaboration with organized private sector like Abuja Chamber of Commerce, Lagos Chamber of Commerce, National Association of Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mine and Agriculture, NACIMA, NEPC, NISAL, AfRexim, Africa Development Bank, Nexim Bank, AfCFTA, National Action Committee, but more importantly, other financial institution in Africa. Other financial institution in Africa. Collaboration is key. Collaboration will make you to do this seminar I suggested, and it will be great if the bank will do that seminar, and I'm sure I can assist the bank in making that happen. I think the bank can publicize itself the more and position itself the more in the mind of the prospective customer. If you begin to do those seminars, and in today's e-seminar or webinar, you won't be spending a lot, so it's going to be less cost for the bank, but it's going to give the bank a lot of mileage among businesses in Nigeria, talking about what the bank is capable of doing to help those businesses. Cooperation. There is need for cooperation. You know, sometimes bankers, it's like we are fighting ourselves. It's like a unit doesn't want another unit to shine. And I'm asking myself, how on earth are we going to be in the same organization? And it's like we are competing with ourselves. And we're in the same organization, and we're competing with ourselves. There is need for an export desk, market-facing export desk, who will be a rallying point to develop export for the bank. And any initiative they came up with should be embraced by the business development unit, risk management, local and foreign operations, because together, everyone achieves more. More importantly is the commitment of the bank. You know, a number of banks don't want to finance export because they've lost money in export in the past. You know, we're doing a training for a bank recently. The DMD of that bank attended that training. And when he was commenting after the session, he said, Dilly, we were beaten by snake. Now, when we see earthworm, we run away. He was saying that we have lost money in export as bankers in the past, but today we run away from transactions that are credible, but because we lack skills, we are still remembering the losses we made in the past, forgetting the fact that it was basically due to knowledge gap. You know, when you are financing, if there are too many dark areas because there is no light, knowledge, and you went ahead with that transaction, you increase the probability of losses. And when I checked the reason why banks have lost money in export, I realized out of the 4 pillars of trade finance, one of them is missing. Bank will be conscious of trade risk mitigation, payment facilitation, and products to use, but many banks are unable to monitor. Trade information flow is lacking because many have not learned the principle of trade finance monitoring. I'm basically saying that there is need for huge capacity building to be able to effectively finance export. And if there is one area of growth that I see for Nigerian businesses and bank in particular, I think exports can make that happen for the bank. So there should be an export desk well equipped. The bank must have strategic products identified to finance under AfCFTA. There should be AfCFTA in all our locations, AfCFTA and export champion, someone that is very sound in export among beside what the marketer already know in terms of financing. It would be a bad idea if NSP count can become part of the AKPI to be able to increase our focus on export. Now, there must be a rallying point. The bank must have a rallying point for this program. Coordination. We must have a vision. What do we want to achieve? Objective. Which sector are we going to be playing to achieve our vision? Strategy. How do we enter each of those sectors? Strategies. Planning. How do we execute our strategy? Activities. What we do every day should be based on our planning. Our planning should be based on our strategy. Our strategy should be based on our objective in every sector. And our objective should be ultimately based on our vision and goal. Lastly, profit. What are the benefits of AfCFTA? Why should the bank consider it? Number one, let me talk about the importers, the potential exporters. Who are those you should invite for this seminar I recommended that you should begin to do? And if you do this kind of seminar every month, it won't be a bad idea. There's so much to talk about on export, and it can empower people. But let me tell you what it does. You know, when I was in Diamond Bank, we were doing seminars across the country. That was how we grew our export base when I was in Diamond Bank. We were able to grow our export customer with seminars across the country. And it was costly then, but today, it's not costly again. You can do it online, webinar. I was flying up and down different parts of the country, organizing export seminar in the name of the bank, and the bank was using that to get manufacturers, importers looking for forex that want to export, companies that look to diversify into export business, we attract them, manufacturers looking for export market abroad, we attract them, established exporters looking for Africa market in Africa, intending exporters looking for markets for their product, and government, state government looking for market for their SME. We attract all of them. We got their detail. Our marketers in those regions swung into action, begin to visit them and market them one by one. So you have a strategy that can make you to get the contact of these people. And you know in Southwest, there is an adage that said, when you pour water on the floor, you walk on wet ground. By inviting them for seminar and telling them the opportunity available in export, particularly in Africa, I am showing them that I'm concerned about their growth. When I show up in their office to go and market them, to do business with the bank, it's going to be an easy ride for me because I will have told them also what I'm capable of doing in terms of support. So the bank needs to equip itself so that each of the staff can render support services. You know, most of these customers, when they are coming in, they're going to bring their deposit to you. They don't need money at the beginning, most of them. They don't need money to fund. They need services that will help them export. If SUNTRUST can take export a lot seriously and develop the skill of the staff to be able to render support services to exporters, intending exporters, existing exporters, I'm very sure we will be able to enjoy the deposit from their raw material fund, the deposit from labor and production, the deposit from clearing and forwarding, the deposit from the FS liquidity. And at the same time, the income from float income on deposit, the interest income, the firm NXP charges, and of course, the account maintenance charge. Lastly, what is the benefit of this program to exporters? The exporter can begin to export duty-free. The exporter can begin to utilize their idle and excess capacity. The exporter can build immunity against the impact of recession in the local economy. The exporter can grow in their market share in other African countries. The exporter can generate cheaper source of foreign exchange to fund import of raw materials. The exporter can benefit from the reduction of tariff and non-tariff barriers, leading to low cost of export, low cost of trading on the continent. In fact, there is chance for overall increase in profitability of the business. How about importer? Importer also have benefit. Importer also have benefit. Importer also have benefit. Importer can begin to import from Africa duty-free. Cheaper source of sourcing for foreign exchange. Because they can source their raw material, they can export to African countries and generate foreign exchange to pay for their raw materials. Reduce cost. If they decide to do backward integration by reworking their supply chain, they can reduce the cost of purchasing raw material. Of course, reduce cash conversion cycle because of the short transit time on the continent from port of loading to destination, importing at a cheaper rate when compared to other countries outside of Africa, and increase competitiveness because of the low cost of importation. Lastly, let me talk about some of our programs before we take your question. We have a couple of programs that might be of interest to you. We have corporate development program and personal development program. Implant training on exports, certification program. Implant training on AfCFTA in particular. We have training on AfCFTA maximization strategic planning framework for bankers, leveraging on AfCFTA to grow export proceeds, AfCFTA maximizing potential of African market, AfCFTA exploring exportable products in Africa. These are all products or training programs that we have for the banks under AfCFTA. Then we also have regular training program, marketing, managing, and multiplying export training program, export customer, structuring and selling export finance products and services, managing, monitoring, and monitoring export business financing, fundamental principle of financing agri and mineral exports, handling export support services, handling emerging export support services for exporters. On a personal level, remember, developing your career, you can consider the following certification: Executive Diploma in Export Business Management and Export Trade Finance from the American Institute of Extended Studies. Acquire skill and competence to take advantage of African market under AfCFTA through the Executive Diploma in Export Business Management and Export Trade Finance. You can pay directly to the school with Form A, and we do the tutorial locally. The tutorial lasts for 6 months. The lecture are done online, so wherever you are in the country, you can do the lecture in your room, and the exam is supervised right in your room. We are doing tutorial program to support, preparation for this training program, and we are currently offering a discount of 50% on the tutorial program for this month. As I close, I would like to say to everyone that if we want to diversify our economy, if we want to create more jobs in Africa, if we want to grow our GDP, if we want to create employment, if we want to put our foreign reserve, if we want to increase wealth, and if we want to reduce poverty on the continent, aggressive drive for international trade is the way to go. Thank you very much. Can I have your question and comment, please? Soji, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, Dele. Thank you very much, Dylan. Thanks, colleagues. And I'm very sure that we've all learned new things and enjoy the training. So, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So I'm sure that we've learned a lot of new things, and we will be able to implement it on our various desks. Before we I'm sure that there could be 1 or 2 questions. So we'll take the questions. Then I have the management is actually represented on the platform. So I would like maybe comments from Raliat and Norris. Then maybe Adiz before but first we'll take audio questions.
All right, you can raise up your hand or unmute yourself to speak. I can't see any hands or questions.
Okay, maybe we'll still. Okay, maybe we'll see digesting it. I'm sure there's going to be a question maybe by the time we reflect upon it. But what I would like to ask, I noticed that it's recorded. If it's possible, you can give us the record so that we can share it and maybe listen to it over and over again. Before we go, I would like please comment from I think Norris. Is Norris in the Norris? Port Harcourt? Any comment, please? Or anybody from Port Harcourt if Norris is not around. If any, are you there? What's his name?
Okay, Gabriel is raising up his hand.
Oh, Imo. Is Imo around? Okay. Gabriel, please go ahead.
Gabriel, please go ahead.
All right. Okay. Good morning, sir.
Gabriel, how are you?
Thanks for.
Can we ask questions?
Yes, you can ask questions, please.
My question is related to infrastructure.
Okay.
Any trade you do with your with partners, regional partners, if you have infrastructure deficit, you definitely suffer because
Gabriel, can I hear you?
it
Maybe it's only
automatically gives.
I could hear him.
Okay. So what it does is it gives the upper hand to your regional partners, to your trading partners. I know that in Nigeria, we still struggle with infrastructure, especially as it has to do with export. So that's a challenge we are facing. Recently, I understand there was a challenge at the port where exporters were prevented from exporting their commodities for some. The ports were not taking in commodities for export recently. I don't know if that has been resolved. So
No,
that challenge
for 2 weeks. So by next week, Monday, we should be able to, yeah.
Okay. Where do you think that leaves us if we are entering into this Continental agreement, and yet unilaterally institutions of agencies of government can take decisions without consulting? I don't think that decision was taken before. I don't think the stakeholders were consulted before that kind of decision was taken. Where do you think that leaves us? In addition to the border closure sometime last year, and now we have this year, does that not leave us at a disadvantage point where we are unable to match what our trading partners are offering? What do you think, sir?
Those challenges and concerns are very correct and valid. However, it's not enough to stop us from playing. Border closure, I don't see that happening again. I've said that on different platforms, that this agreement have dispute resolution mechanism, which ETLS does not have in ECOWAS, and that has made this agreement different from what happened. So I don't even say border closure again, because we have a way of seeking redress now under AfCFTA. With respect to infrastructure, the reason why Nigeria did not sign on time was because the organized private sector insisted that government was give a commitment to, number one, not just develop infrastructure, but provide palliatives to help them reduce their costs and be able to compete favorably. And what government have done now, government have released about 550 billion naira currently being administered to different sector of export. And I happen to be one of the people working with the government on that arrangement on the training side. Some are infrastructure for warehousing. Some are helping with trade house on the other side abroad. So a number of things are happening within that space right now. So I would say for the first time, sincerely, for the first time, even though I have concern with the government of the day, but for the first time, money was being released to support export in Nigeria. And I can see effort being made in that direction. It's like, not that they will release it, they've released it already. It was in the economic sustainability plan, and it's been released, and it's already being managed. Exporters are already registering online to be able to access the Export Development Fund. A number of things are happening. So what you said are valid, but effort is being made sincerely to ameliorate the impact of those infrastructural deficits so we can be at least to some extent competitive. But in spite of the issue we have, sincerely, Nigeria is still, to some extent, competitive in Africa, in spite of our infrastructural deficit. But with this palliative from government and with the AfCFTA, I think it will give us an advantage. In terms of consultation, I wrote an article on that 2 weeks this thing. I didn't find it funny at all. They eventually had the consultation post-closure. Post-closure, because we went to NEPC last week Thursday to have a meeting with Adizat and the NEPC director, the executive director of NEPC, just explaining what happened, which could be understandable, only that the way they went about it was not good enough. It wasn't good enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Podakot was trying to ask a question. Podakot.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Okay, please. Do you have any comment from?
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can we round up? All right. Okay.
Can you hear me, Bamidele?
I can hear you, please.
Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, if you can hear me, mine. Okay, good. Okay, mine is actually my question borders like from the slide that you showed. Nigeria ratified this treaty sometime in 2020, way behind Ghana. And my concern, even though you have shown that we export more to other African countries, my concern is considering the cost of doing business in Nigeria, considering the cost, the power issues, and all of that. Is there anything that the government that ratified this treaty is doing to also give us further advantage? Because if the cost of doing business here is worked on and reduced drastically, we all know that some businesses are moving to other African countries and all of that from Nigeria. So that puts us at a comparative disadvantage. So I'm asking, since we have ratified this treaty, is there anything the government is doing to ensure that we gain more, we benefit more from this treaty, considering that our market is virtually the largest in Africa? So if we have more of other African countries' goods coming into Nigeria, we lose. So that's actually my question. Since we have ratified it, is there any policy in place also for the government to ensure that we benefit maximally from this treaty? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I didn't know, maybe you didn't hear when I was talking to Gabriel. That was also what Gabriel talked about. And I said, government recently released 50 billion to support different area of export, such that if I'm a manufacturer and I'm an exporter, I have palliatives in terms of, in fact, if I have had losses because of COVID, there's a palliative for me. If I need to do research in a market and I need funds, there's a fund available for me to do that market research. If I need to do training or certification, fund is available for me to be able to do that. And even warehousing, to be able to reduce the cost of warehousing, the fund is also having different parts. And I was saying that this is the first time this will be done in Nigeria, and that for me is commendable, and that this will significantly relieve the exporters of the challenge you raise in terms of not being competitive because of our infrastructural deficit. So really, government is working the talk in that area. What I think government would do better is to help with a situation where we can have, because a lot of shipment will be done by air. So that's the area I'm thinking of. In terms of movement by sea, government is also working with private sector. Very soon, a sea link project with Comex that will enable us to move good within the West Africa and Central Africa. A vessel comes from Nigeria. So not a vessel now depending on the vessel that will come to Nigeria, go to Europe before going to Ghana. But now you can leave from Nigeria, go to Benin, Togo, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Gambia, and like that, and traversing West Africa. So those are the efforts being made to be able to significantly reduce the impact. But of course, I believe government can do a lot more. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Thank you very much.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think because there's good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Soji.
Good morning.
Dr. Adeniro, I would like to ask a question, please.
All right, Dr. Please go ahead.
Everyone, good morning, Mr. Bamidele.
Morning, sir.
I want to find out about standardization, and I would dissect it into two ways. Number one, I don't know what the government is doing in terms of standardizing the quality of commodities coming into the country and secondly, going out of the country.
Reason being that we have various countries in there. I would like to know if each countries have their standardization in terms of quality and the levels, or there is going to be a unification with respect to the AfCFTA. That is one. Then two, how is the government helping SON, that is Standardization Organization of Nigeria, in such a way that a lot of products are being produced, packaged to go outside the country, but one way or the other, they may fall short of the standard expected in the quality to meet them. Not because it wasn't at the process, but because of the movement and the logistics getting there, one thing or the other might have happened to them, maybe the packaging, maybe the level of moisturization, maybe the level of preservation, whatever it may be. So is the government doing anything in making sure that, and I think most of this thing goes to the agricultural sector. A lot of customers, a lot of farmers and exporters, they, at the end of the day, have a lot of huge losses. And maybe that is why banks and stakeholders are not really encouraged or having the, I don't know how to say it now, the inspiration of, or the zeal to really go into this very, very humongous opportunity that we have in our spaces. So I don't know if government is doing anything in these two ways. Number one, what is going out, how to help the economy in such a way that we don't lose much money as a fallout of the standardization of the outside there. And secondly, how to make the gateway of commodities coming into our country to meet the minimum standard for our health and the security of the people.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. In terms of standardization, there will be a unified standard in Africa. It's called sanitary and phytosanitary measures for agri. So there is a sanitary and phytosanitary measures. So for different products we trade in Africa, we will all agree on the minimum standard that it must meet. Moisture, impurity, microbial. There will be a unifying sanitary and phytosanitary measures that will need to be applied in Africa under the AfCFTA. And everybody have to meet that. So if you don't meet that, then of course, you are not qualified to be able to play within that space. Now, but for sun has sun cap on the import side. If stuff is coming to Nigeria and is of low quality, sincerely, Sun I will blame for that, because Sun's supposed to be the one to prevent that from happening in the first place. In terms of manufacturing going now, Sun also have what is called MANCAP, Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program, that is supposed to be, if I'm exporting now, if it's manufactured, if it's commodity, I'll be dealing with the agricultural quarantine that deal with sanitary certificate. But if I'm exporting manufactured good, I'll be dealing with MANCAP, Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program. It's like SUNCAP on the export side. Now, that Sun is doing enough for import? Sincerely, I don't think so. What I discover is like importers have been able to find a way to bypass Sun. They will have Sun certificate, but the quality of product coming into Nigeria is still not good enough. And I think that's just, in my opinion, the issue of corruption. But in terms of quality of good living, Nigeria under AfCFTA, there is an arrangement to ensure there is a unified quality, so that at the end of the day, you don't ship goods that is of low grade. The reason why government is actually working on the warehouse they're working on right now is to have a warehouse where any good living will come to and quality check before eventually it's loaded into container and leave in Nigeria. That way, we can significantly minimize the impact of quality specification issue in Nigeria as far as AfCFTA is concerned. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, please. We may still have a reason to have question, but I think because of time, we need to just round up. So for that, I will just have comments of Raliat, then we'll round up. Hello, Alex. Okay. Okay. Is not Rizarand or any other regional executive that wants to comment?
Okay, Babes Ibu. Hello, Babes Ibu here.
Okay, yeah, Babayo.
Yes.
Sorry, speaking.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Babayo. Okay,
Yes,
please. Babayo,
yes,
please have a comment, please. Can speak.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Not much to say, but hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, yes. This seminar is a very, very important one. And the way I look at it is that we, Nigeria, the country as a whole, I don't think we are positioning ourselves, even though all these things being done, but what we have discussed now, countries like the East African countries, they have gone far. They are preparing to dominate this kind of businesses. They are positioning themselves. And it is a welcome development that Nigeria is coming up now with all these arrangements. Two things that we need to do. While the country is positioning itself, we as a bank, we should position ourselves as well. So this seminar is very much welcome, and I think we should have more of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you,
Soji.
On having more of the seminar, I'm sure that Dile is always around for us to contact him. It's only that I don't know, maybe this time around I might not be free. But
someone is talking, Soji.
Okay.
Soji. Sorry, can we have the slide,
please? Are you hearing me?
Yes, Ibrahim, please. Can we have the slide?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello, Dele and Soji, please,
okay,
can
Ibrahim.
we have the slide after the session, please?
Oh, yes, I'll send it to Soji.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Ibrahim, you want to say something?
Yes, I just asked a question if we could have the slide after the session, and he responded already. That will send to you. It will be sent to you.
Okay, Dele, I don't know if you get the question. If you got
I have responded. That's why I will send it
that
to
will be
you.
the question. I will just round up.
I'll send the video and the slide to you.
Okay. Oh, okay, good.